Hey, all right. Hey, folks, we're going to do some book cover commission this morning. It's Saturday morning. It's time for me to do art stream. So we're going to bounce for about 2 hours here working on this book cover commission for Andy Headley, the old goat, edited by Brian Holmes. Excellent creators for DM's Guild, Call of Cthulhu, and other games. This is called The Gun of Inaravan, and it's been my pleasure to create this for the past... I guess we're on, what is this, week 14? We're almost done with this thing. So all we have to do is lettering and then integrate the lettering into the portal effect and then finish the portal effect scattering across the ground. And we'll cap this. So this might be our last stream. Nah, maybe next week. I don't know. We'll get it done. But hey, let me check my signal for now. See if we're coming through okay. And then I'll go through my official intro spiel. Mic check. Mic check. Through my official... 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right, go through my official intro spiel, and then we'll hammer this thing out for a couple hours. So if you are catching this, boop, 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 here we go. And I'm going to press a bunch of buttons here so I can start doing my intro stuff and posting online that I am live to grab some eyes. If you're catching this in the future, and you've tuned in before, skip ahead like maybe a minute or so, and we'll be getting into the actual art production for the day. But if this is the present moment for you, or if you haven't been here before, then hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements, illustrate them, I publish them online. I normally do work in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, that I publish on DM's Guild, but on Saturdays like this, I also do art commissions for whatever role-playing game or project it is that I've been mercenaried into producing for folks. So let's see, get this out of the way, blip, blip, reopen. I stream 6 days a week, Monday through Friday in the morning. I do book art for upcoming Spelljammer supplement for 5th edition. Monday and Thursday nights, I create monster token art and create maps for an Eberron adventure, also for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I develop mechanics for new game supplements at lunchtime, like Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays. And then Saturdays like this, I work out commissions, or if I'm between commissions or have something I want to focus on, I'll do private, unrelated projects to whatever. So I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter, so if you want to get notifications about stuff that I'm doing in the future and other hijinks, you can follow me on Twitter X at Phil Kearney. Hello. And let's see, we're at episode 13 of this particular build. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We're trying to grow to 500 subscribers as our first major benchmark. And when we do, I will get to 500 subscribers. I will post all of the Photoshop brushes that I use on my Patreon at no cost for anyone to grab. So cheers to that. Let's get into this. So we've been building this thing out. This is, you can see reference in the past that this is a giant... undead or demonic abyssal flesh and stuff golem construct thing that's very, very large, and it bores a hole through reality, kind of like an extra dimensional scry effect, and whatever you see is the point of impact for a wormhole that destroys everything in a 100-foot area. And then the machine can step through, or it can just maintain a boom tunnel for troops to flow through, like bringing the blood war anywhere they want to go. So we were working on this portal effect. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out overall. I like the radiant lightning shock effect. I like the ring of energy. I like the black hole sort of snow globe of destruction effect. So I'm pretty happy with this. But right now what we need to do is work out the text for the cover and then see how the red, any kind of highlighting we want to do to make that the cover pop, and then see about integrating that pop with this energy effect. So like using this as the same glow and maybe the same static electricity, lightning sort of effect to flow from the cover down into the portal. I was looking at different types of like maybe red and black and mixes in over this, but I think honestly the white has the most punch. but we'll see. I haven't full committed to anything other than I love this effect that we've created. So I want to replicate that, and I need to push out more of this fractal electricity across the ground to flow across this building, and then into the foreground a little bit more to root this effect into the environment that we created. But we're really far down the pipeline on this. So let's see here for reference. I was given this. Hold on. This font called Barazad that was created by credit where credit is due by Pixel Sagas. But here you can see how these letters look. They're interesting. I'm not going to use the font. I'm going to use the strokes and gestures of this font to create letters that you'll actually recognize. Like this is the letter B. Maybe you can see that, but this is the letter C. This is the letter E. This is the letter F. This is the letter G. This is the letter H. Like there's some skew to this that as written, it's not usable as a book cover. But we can use this language, like these claw-like effect. We can use this slashing effect, this dripping effect. I can duplicate these brush strokes and use just normal alphabet, whatever we call the alphanumeric system that we use in English. I don't know what the official word for that is, but I did pick this up for reference for the different gestures that are possible in the language that's here. So I'm going to use that as inspiration, and I'm going to drop frames here for a second to have a high dichotomy. Let's take this cover here. I like how it sits on the page. That's pretty good centering, about like this. Is pretty solid for cover position. Let's put that frame back into place just to see how it sits. See, if I have the same energy color highlight here, I can then more effectively work on this fade to black effect. Maybe even bubble it out more. We'll see how that looks, but once the lettering is in, we'll have a more clear read of how the top end of the composition is supposed to look. So let's see. Let's build some letters, shan't we? Hey, Chronix, how you doing, my guy? Doing the far less sexy lettering today. I don't know how inspiring that is for people that are into it for the artwork or not, but it is our task at hand here. Meow. Yeah, sharp red, and we'll drop this back down. So my job is going to be, I want to leave this faded here so I have a sense of space and proportions, but this is roughly how I want things to be sitting on the page already. I just got to use a font that's not crap. So let's make a font. Hopefully that's not crap. I think I'm going to use, the font, the Better Design font that was requested. It doesn't have any differences between uppercase and lowercase. And so we're just we'll just use small caps to be able to indicate the size and change of things. I've got some ideas here. Yeah, I'm just absorbing the information here real quick to see if I can pick up an attitude. Kill your fright. Attitude. I'm going to use my wedge. This is my this is the guitar pick that why are you so you? Let's do that. There we go. All right, here's the guitar pick. It's got a sharp front edge tip here, and then it's got a faded back end at the butt back here. It's a really good hard material like plastics or metal or rock. It's pretty good about carving through and sculpting in paint those mediums. But I think it's going to be probably better than, I'm going to see if it's better than a round brush for creating these gestures. And if I'm right and it is, then rock and roll. Otherwise, let's actually slim it down. That's interesting. That might get us the attitude that we want. Just creating shapes. I'm trying to keep in mind the idea of like claws and fangs for a pseudo sinister kind of aggressive posture or attitude with the lettering. I don't know if I'll accomplish it or not, but that's the starting point where I'm at, since it's the Abyss. Aggression and spite is kind of the name of the game. It's like a cool little, like, spiky little needle looking sort of thing. That feels cool. See how the wedge, the sharp fingernail format of the brush, and how it makes it easier for me to pull into these gestures and extend that that sort of natural, what's the word, like growth almost. There. The one thing I do know I need to do is put guidelines in. There, if I construct everything within these lines, we should be able to have, I can build all the letters as caps, and then I can reduce the ones I'm going to have as small caps as not like lead letters. So, hey Andy, it's good to see you, my guy. I don't know if you've, I don't think I sent you an update last week. That's on me, my guy. Hold on real quick. Let's pull back here and just take in the whole piece right now, and give you a chance to look at the close-up of this, since we were playing with the portal before. Here's the energy effect that we ended up with. See, it's fading into the sky, but once we get this lettering in, we can chain this fractal lightning effect and then blend it into the highlight of the lettering. Excellent, great. Glad to hear it, my guy. So, thank you. My gut is telling me that, audience out there, Andy Healy here. He's the commissioning game creator that I'm doing the commission for. So when we were initially looking at the design idea, I was playing with an idea of like black and red energy, but I'm thinking the highlight brightness of this helps punch out something like it's the natural ring effect of this. I think is compelling for people to want to look in to see what's going on. So I'm going to assume that we're just going to keep this whitish energy here as the default for the energy. But once I get and I'm going to use the same color for the lettering. So once that's done, I'll be able to take a look at maybe little, if I were to add more color to it, maybe like little blurble effects, kind of like if you ever saw Havoc, the mutant Havoc from Marvel Comics. Here, hold on real quick. Havoc. Marvel comic. I could swear, was it Havoc or no, it was that's not it. Havoc always had these these iridescent circles. What I was thinking of was X-Men Psylocke comic. Show me. Where's your blade, sister? There's different ways it gets expressed. Hold on. There it is. That's what I wanted to see. Open link, a new tab. Actually, just open pic. Open image, a new tab. That's what I need. There. See, it's got these like little blurble effects. I was thinking if I can get another color to integrate properly into the radiant effect that we have here, it would be this sort of a sort of like a smoky effect. I think that might complement the lightning. But if I were to do that, it would be like in little pockets, like these blank spots that I have in the iridescent energy that's flowing here. That's where I would put the little blarbles, and I'd use the same red from the text as like a drop fade. But I'm not 100% on that yet. So if it looks good, we'll go with it. But if it doesn't, then I'll scrap it and leave it set like this. But we're doing God's work here, my friends. Let's stay holy and keep moving forward. So let's see. We'll drop frames and grab here again and here and drop that back here. So by making all the letters the same size, I can then drop a second line through the like here. I can make the lowercase letters this large, but they'll still be built at this scale. So I can just pull and drop them like as I run across repeat lettering. So this is kind of the same process we went through for the book cover for the Crystals of Mabar, and I might actually revisit that. I like this. I like this edge so much on this T that I'd rather resize the letters than change the edge there. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we can build from here. T, H. How do I want my H to look? H. We're using caps and we're using lower caps. So I want to. You know what? I'm going to conceal that for now. And I'm just going to, let's just stack letters. Letters. And the rest of this stuff is just guide garbage. Letters, logo. Enough said. Letters. There. So I'm going to drop the letter to opacity so that when I make the H, it's going to be able to stay roughly in frame with the T. And then I can decide to thin it out if I want to, or however I want to manipulate it. But I'm liking this tool. This is I'm really glad we went with this here. Nice. Little too thin there, Kearney. Let's keep that up. We got to keep that fang idea in mind. There. See, if I think about fangs, it ends up looking much better just naturally. So I've been a painter for, well, I've been getting paid to make art since about 2002. So I've got 20 years of experience of just like doing freelancing in general. I've been a crappy artist since I was 5 and didn't start really taking it seriously until I was 12. So I've got decades of basically developing a sense of trust that my body is capable of producing the results that I want if I get out of the way and just allow it to do so. So a lot of times I can just have an idea or an image in my mind about like, not like literally paint this thing I'm imagining, because in my mind it's kind of a cloud of like ideas, attitudes, and possibilities that thread themselves together through my automation of my arm moving reflexively to be able to create results. And if that doesn't make a lot of sense, that is to say that if I think I want something to be like a fang or a claw, and then I just kind of turn off my brain for a minute, it does that. Like this is the result of my brain turning off and having a general command of make claw or fingernail or horn flavored font. And this is the result that we're getting from it, which, and I'm already fucking thrilled with this. Like, I think this is just the kind of attitude and like aggressive gesture that would be appropriate for something Abyssal. And we're starting to build a little we're building shapes that we can pick up and use to shape other letters as we keep moving through this process. Like I could take a chunk of this or a chunk of that T and use that to thread in and build new letters as we go, which is why I'm stacking them with transparencies so that we're building shape on shape on shape, not only to make sure that we're maintaining a common letter size, like a hit box for the letter, but to also make sure that the language stays consistent by just repeatedly kind of falling into the same language. So the more I do this, the more I want to kind of revisit the lettering for Crystals of Mabar and see, because I've only really just discovered this lettering process, and that like I don't do a lot of lettering. Normally I find a really generic font like Robotico or Helvetica or whatever, and just spruce up that generic font that's non-licensed. But this is really one of the first times that I've messed around with like an official, not an official, but like a third-party font that uses completely foreign line gestures, and it's actually proving to be a fuck ton of fun. So this is inspiring me to go back and maybe look at building more unique font for the Crystals of Mabar title to maybe reflect the Eberron font as well. I don't know. We'll see. Or I might just be falling in love with this Abyssal font. I might want to just use that for the Crystals of Mabar as well, which might be viable. So here's our lettering. Here is our outer edge for the letter. I think this will be a good shape for the letter H. So I'm going to actually build a new layer here. And again, I want to think claws and talons and teeth and nails. See, I have this background of this T here. It's showing me these angles and these curves. So I'm attempting. I can tell that I'm attempting to align that same sort of sweeping language as I form this bridge. I really like that. I don't know if you're still around or not. Andy, thanks, Andy. Appreciate the trust, man. I don't know if you're around or not, but I'm pretty jazzed over how this lettering is looking already. It's got some really delicate lines to it, but I think it's going to be able to hold in shape throughout the form. So what I should do, honestly, is make sure that I don't blunder myself. And let's go with select. I already have the letter selected, so I'm going to modify and expand it. And we're going to expand it by, let's see what 5 does. And then we can go down here and we can bring the energy. Let's keep letters. Let's make a folder out of this. Ref. Drop that out, pull the frame back in. It's going to turn out really good, I can tell. Let's see. Instead, let's try that again. I'm looking for a radiant size for the size of letter that's going to feel right. And I want to expand that. Let's take it out to 10 and see how that works. I think that works pretty good. And then when I finish doing that, see, I can carve in the lighting effect around the daggers. And then, give me a second here to find the fractal tool. You'll see what I'm doing. Here we go. Fractal set. We'll be able to pull those things together. Merge those together. Duplicate. Merge those together. Duplicate. Merge those together. Bam. Like that. That's the kind of idea that I'm thinking about. So we'll be able to do the same energetic like fade effect and iridescence pushing up through the electricity here into the lettering. And of course, you know, we'll have the inner event will actually be here, so it's going to be really, really close to the sphere as it is already. Hold on. There, get that out of the way. And let's push this back up to full again so we can see. See, when I have this set in here, like this is how close the electricity is going to be to the portal itself. So I could actually use something like about this size to just blend into the chaos that's already here. Wherever this big static effect is already at, that's where I can blend that electricity and then just extend this this fading effect out of the like this fading of energy here that can just flow up into and then meet the sharpness of the outline here again to have like a pulse effect. So that's the idea. Yeah, good. I'm glad you're liking it. I'm glad you're liking it, Andy, because I'm really feeling like that's gonna, honestly, it's gonna be really easy to build it, but it should look really fucking sweet when it's done. So that's what we're fucking around with right now. So now that you have the vision of it, you can trust me to sally forth, as it were. So completing the lettering and then completing this radiant effect into the lettering, that'll show us how well the lettering for this is jiving with the composition as a whole, to know if we need to have like red drips or something, or like black blarbles bridging the gap between these two things or not. And that should be pretty obvious based on how much image density there is. Like if it just if it feels like the space is full by just doing the lettering and the outline as I described, if that makes the space feel full, then we're done. If it feels like it's missing something, then that red effect should make it pop forward more to fill the space better. And so we'll see. I'm not hard committed to that idea yet. I'm just aware of that. That's the process that's going to happen. It's going to happen. But that's the story. So now that I have my hitbox here and I know what we're doing, I can drop the H down as well, and then the letter E. So this will be the letter T. This is the letter H. And then we'll build the letter E. And so once I get into another letter that we already just spelling out the gun of Revan, once we start hitting repeat letters, we just skip on. So we just build the alphabet that we need for the letters in the stack, and then we just pull the letters from the stack to the position that they need to be in for the layout. And then we just do the highlight background like we just did, build the radiance, carve it down to shape around the teeth, and then do the and then extend down the radiant effect, and Bob will be our uncle. So I still need to do the ground though. I still have this this foreground I want to hit with electricity. So I'd like to be done. I'm thinking this should be my last. Like I know I want this to be my last stream because there's something that I've got other design ideas that are pounding in my head that want the Saturday space, but at the same time, I kind of want to finish on stream. So I'm thinking I'll probably, we'll see. I know I'm not going to get done today because I yammer too much and am unfocused. So that shan't happen. But you know what? I can just grab this T like I was just talking about. And I can grab this H. Like this. And build these things together. Wow. I'm really loving it. Andy, this font was a great suggestion, man. What a good find. So much fun. I really, really love this. I have never been gripped by font production like this before. I don't know what the magic is that we've got going on tonight, but this is just making my heart sing. I know that song. It's time to press the button. It's time for coffee. Coffee. Oh. Andy, man, those tokens that I was building on Thursday, I had for anyone that doesn't know, I posted one of the sketches for the Eberron creature tokens on my Twitter, so you can catch that at Phil Kearney. And that was on Thursday that I posted that. It's just a sketch. But I'm looking at the details on it, and it's so much more machine than bone. So I think I'm going to have to. I can use that same general frame. It's a chunky beast. So I like the frame, but it's got more of a. It's got more of a Warforged armor, like an armorer, like an artificer armorer sort of look to it, and I don't think that's necessarily on brand for what the Bone Knight is supposed to be. So I'll probably have to go back and reskin that with like ribs and bone and sinew and stuff. And I think the work that I've been doing here on the weapon that you had me design, I think that will help me rebuild that creature's armor to feel more like that necrotic death energy that I was initially going for. The problem with turning off my brain and letting the artwork do what the artwork wants to do, I don't actually know what the artwork is going to do. So occasionally it creates something that's awesome but inappropriate, in a safe for work sort of way. I just mean not on flavor for the project, and I think that's what I accomplished with that sketch. But it's the chonkiness of it. It's a compelling. The silhouette is strong, and the attitude coming off of it, I think, is appropriate. But I'm really enjoying that token production right now. I love making tokens. I love doing just character sketches, and I love that. The opportunity, like when I get into the deep meat of of rendering detail in a painting, for instance, it's I'm no longer unrestrained. I have constrictions. Like I have a form that I've already created on the page that has to be maintained. And now it's just me filling in the details inside of, like with filigree and stuff. And it's a restriction that prevents me from really just being able to turn off my brain and let the pixels flow through me. And so the sketch stage, the ideation phase of just sculpting line and mass, it's a different type of magic that I think. For a while, I really got kind of addicted to that flow of thought, which is what kept me doing sketchbooks and stuff throughout college. Not so much that I was doing anything meaningful or even anything that was permanent or that anyone else would see, but it was just the opportunity and the experience to let the experience of arting, like the essence of it, like just let it flow through the body and let the energy carry you. It's its own thing, man. It's a trip. I'll tell you that. I think I had a point there. Oh yeah, it was that I was gonna have to modify that, but I'm really loving that. I still got some map. I still have a few maps to do, like the little like gazebo vignettes and like forest vignettes. I have to bloody up the farmhouse map. But I guess I'm taking a mental break from cartography in Eberron, probably just to prevent burnout overall. But I'm liking the transition. This feels too complicated, so I need a simple. Oh, that's good. That feels right. It's interesting looking at how the page layouts for an adventure are different from like a rules supplement, like character options. I typically create character options, even though I'm a forever DM. The options that I create that for the books that I have, it's the how to say. The characters and subclasses and feats and stuff that I build for players, even though I'm a forever DM, I build those because those are the kind of characters that I want. I wish I was DMing for. Like I wish the characters were capable of doing these sort of things. Like this is how, or like this. These are the mechanics that you could use during your adventuring, so that I can DM the way that I want to DM. I just like the narrative that's created by a lot of those. And why am I talking about this? Because I so much of my content is character focused. I remember now that the designing of an adventure as a DM only facing product is a different paradigm. And I'm really getting jazzed about starting to play with layouts. I know that I mean we're pretty far done with Act 1 and 2 overall, and it's just editing for Act 3 is all we really need to complete it. And I'm hesitant to begin the layout work for Act 1 and 2 because whatever happens in the appendices and Act 3 may modify what we have in Act 2. And if there's any kind of like change in voice, I don't want to hard commit yet to space, like building space on the page if it's going to end up being changed. So, and it's probably going to end up changing anyway as I find myself like 4 words more than I need to make this page look perfect. I may then go in and resculpt words, or inspiration of flavor may strike that allows me the opportunity. Since I do all my layouts in Word, I'll pick up the document out of the Google Doc and drop it into Word, and then begin sculpting how much text I want on each page and where I can drop the shapes of like the different maps and stuff into the piece to be able to frame the information properly. But I can feel my brain is crawling around in that direction, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's a good E. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So THE, congratulations. We have the word the. We're going to drop this down like that, and then we're going to go with I need to get rid of that and call this the letter E. I think I need to drop the opacity on that a bit more. There we go. THEGUN, the gun. Let's see. How do they do curves? I need to learn curves. Okay, I see it. Ooh, that's a good one. That's an actual curve. Like most of them are just intersecting claws, like meeting claws together to make curves, like I did with the E and the T. But here we have an actual example of like a swooping hook. That is literally, yeah. Here's a swooping hook too. Those are literally the only 2 instances in this entire. Well, that's kind of a hook. That's not really a swoop. A swoop is when you go beyond 90, like a 90% bend. When a swoop goes more than 90% around, that becomes a swoop instead of a bend. It's like this is a swoop. So you can see here that the center point across here, that's extended up, and it's practically 180 like that. That's one of the very few instances in this library that we're seeing. Like technically, this is 2 claws that are meeting up to each other. I think. Blep. Hey, Ornetico. It's good to see you, my dude. Sometimes when I'm talking, I feel like I'm saying blep. Like, I'll wake up in the middle of me saying something. It's like, am I completely talking out of my ass, or what's going on? What was I talking about? It happens more often than I prefer. I think I'm going to be funny when I'm old. I mean, like, really old. I'm already 50. I mean, like 80. I think I'm going to be a nightmare. I'm grinding. I can feel myself focusing too much attention on the piece, and it's creating a barrier for me to be able to just let the lines move where they want to move to. So this is me becoming aware that I am too aware. There's a difference. It's not even really awareness. It's hyperfixation. I'm becoming obsessed over the gestures that I'm making, and I'm attempting to force them to meet an expectation. Isn't that just an analogy for life? Hey, apparently I've got a tangent here real quick. So I think a lot of people's like the idea of suffering in Buddhism is that we have an expectation of what we think something is going to be instead of allowing the art of being alive to simply gesture itself into being something beautiful that you can appreciate. And I talked about this before, but I feel it's even more so true than ever before that being involved in a craft or an art or a sport that allows you to literally lose yourself in the movement of whatever craft or art you're performing is the best analogy for samsara, or walking with God, in that you're capable of turning off your own expectations and thoughts and need to manage a situation like an ego would, like the fearful thing inside of us that needs to make sure everything's just right, so we don't have to be scared, and it's hyper vigilant and always looking for what needs to be done, or what's our next step, or what happens if we don't complete this step, or what if that was the wrong step and I can't do the things I ever want to do now because I fucked up. Like that thing that panics in the back of my head. I've been listening to it for a long time. And I've only just recently discovered that when I attempt to micromanage my pixels, that it's like my ego stepping in and trying to make sure that I don't say the wrong thing, or I get there at the right time, or my God, I feel like we're running late, so I'm stressed and pissy. Like these are all things that are attempting to sculpt the shape of my life using tools that I wasn't intended to do so. So this is a really great moment of opportunity for me to be able to see in like real time that instant of me. Did you see, like, I slowed down and the movement was less natural and less organic? It's because I thought I knew what I thought I could control the angle, and that I would know what I need to, like, I know best. I need to pay attention to this because my body's not going to get it right. That's fucking ridiculous. I just need to get the fuck out of the way of myself and just let it move. It'll end up being what it needs to be. And that's something, it's really neat to be able to catch myself in real time. Like how, like the actual processes of that restriction machinery. Like I can feel the gear grinding in my mind as I get frustrated that the pixels weren't pushing the way that I wanted them to push. I'm like, why does this hurt so much? And it's because I was not allowing the pixels to flow where they wanted to be. And it's not like I'm going to get it right the first time every time, although sometimes I do, and that's fucking cool when it is. When you hit that angle perfectly and it just syncs up with the line that you needed to meet, or like you just eyeball something and it's pitch perfect in perspective, that shit's just, that's like making a 3-point line with 4 guys guarding you, you know? It's like, that's just swish. Feels right. And yeah, so those are moments of victory. Like those, I talk about dopamine and hitting those lines, that precision and skill that you have to train through motor reflexes over time. That's like one of the real senses of satisfaction that hasty, impatient artists don't allow themselves the opportunity to acquire. Because the art is, I'm finding more over time, is a really neat mixture of trusting you know what you need to do and delaying satisfaction. Because there's a supreme amount of pressure that an artist has to put on themselves to be able to render out something for 40, 60 hours, however long it takes, depending on the scale of the project. I met a guy recently. He does murals. He gets hired by companies to paint murals on the side of their building, like sometimes 30 feet tall. And his process, he was fascinated with the digital art that I did because it was so because of how I could layer it and play through the different levels, while he had to chalk out and have precise positioning of everything. Because like a tattoo artist, he only really kind of has one go at it before he like, if he doesn't get it right the first time, he doesn't make any money because it takes so long to produce those things, and the margins as an artist aren't amazing. So he has to get it one and done. So he doesn't have any, like, there's so many safety nets in digital tools. So he has to trust that he's going to get, like, he trained himself to, like tattoo artists, a lot of them train themselves that I'm going to get it done the first time. There is no go backs. Like, that is a different level of trust in that body control that as a digital artist I didn't have to develop. Like, I have infinite correction. I can control Z anytime I want to take backs, and I can build layers so I can add things in underneath other really complex forms that I've created without damaging them. There's a shitload of grace that goes on inside of digital art that I'm realizing that it's prevented me from more swiftly attaining that deep level of trust that artists that work in physical medium simply have to cultivate to be able to perform their craft. Because, you know, once you lay down a stripe of black or a thick stripe of red on your painting as lettering, like, it's gonna be there, and that's all it's gonna be. So I see acrylic artists like do tape offs of line work and stuff like that, and then to an extent be able to paint by number on that. But like oil artists and like this muralist really doesn't have that kind of grace. So it's interesting to finally feel like I'm catching up and to feel those different tools, like that, just that mental process. I was looking at that as an analogy of life, because like I said, it's the more I get out of the way of myself in my conversations with people or the decisions I make during the day, the more I just trust that it's going to be what it's supposed to be, the more freedom I have to enjoy and watch the process unfold by itself. And when I was really good at that in college, I had a day job. I was a prep cook at an Italian restaurant. And so my job was basically 6 a.m. till 2. And then I'd check out for the rest of the day. And I was in my 20s. So, you know, I had the rest of my day to booze up or, you know, chase girls or dick around at the park or whatever it is that Phil's going to do when he has the rest of his day off. And that's during that time when I got hit by that truck. And that experience knocked all of the priorities out of my body. I was just, it's like anyone that's seen Friends, there's this episode where Ross is dumbstruck about this car wreck or this accident that they got into. He was in the car with Joey in the passenger seat, and when the accident was happening, Joey jumped in the way to secure Ross to hold him in place. The punchline of the episode was, it wasn't that Joey was trying to protect Ross. It's that there was a sandwich on the dashboard and Joey was afraid it was going to get ruined in the wreck, so he dived to save the sandwich, and in doing so he got in the way of Ross and held him in place and saved him from danger. But the reason I bring it up is because if you see that episode, it's hysterical because, you know, sandwiches. But Ross has this dumbstruck feeling, and he does a pretty good job describing it, and like that sort of sense of revelry of like, I shouldn't even be here right now. It's so the rest of this is kind of bonus, like a bonus feature. So and then couple that with that sense of like, why am I still here? What is my purpose? It's to push butter. Oh my God. But once you realize that like when you frame it that way, it's like there is no purpose. This is bonus time. Like, you did what you were supposed to do. You were born. Everything else now is just you enjoying the experience. So you don't have any mission, you don't have any objectives. And the less you think about it and the more fun it is, the more we can actually just do things through you. And you're going to love what we have planned. And just let it happen. And so the more I get out of the way of myself, the more satisfied I become with the results of what my own, in this analogy, what my life is. But it's that same physical process of not fretting the details and just keep the attitude of I just want to be fierce and have claw, and then see what gets expressed as a result of it. And it's like, yeah, that looks fucking great. Loving these lines. And all the previous projects when I've attempted to create my own fonts, it was such a heavy micromanaged activity that it just like the slowness of it, like how awkwardly unnatural the movement felt. It was just literally painful because I was separating myself from that flow state that I cherish when I paint. And by adopting the wrong attitude and not trusting that I can actually accomplish this thing, and that the reason why I was inspired to do it is because it was time to prove that I can. Like the more I'd resist that flow, the more painful it got. Like there was like I was somebody rubbernecking on the road, and there's a stack of cars that are all honking at me because I just won't get in fucking gear and keep moving. Like that's how it feels sometimes, and I can sense that same frustration in moments like in my actual life of like my career's going nowhere, or what the hell's going on with this relationship, and it's got that same sense of that slow grind of I'm micromanaging it too much, like as though I know, like I don't even know what it's gonna, like I don't know what the future is gonna be, just like I don't want to know what this painting is gonna be. When I love my work the best, I have no awareness of what it's going to be. I just have an attitude or an idea, like a vague set of, well, to use an AI term, I have prompts. Sharp letters that look like hellish fangs and claws make letters. And that's an AI prompt. So it's so funny that I'm looking at this debate of artists versus AI manufacturers, like image producers. They're not artists; they're image producers, but they have to use these different keywords to trigger the machine to render an image, and it feels more and more to me like if you check out that sketch that I had posted on my Twitter. Hold on, I'll just go there real quick. Tangent. Love you, Psylocke. Twitter. Okay, so this is the thing that we meet on Thursday, right? Look at that. It's like super fuzzy out of focus, right? Because I did render detail and then I zoomed in a little bit to be able to make sure it fit the size of the space that I wanted to. And in doing that, it caused it to become cloudy. The next step on this on this specific piece is going to be to go in and here, open image in a new tab here. See, look how blurry it is up close. But when I go through and I re-render it, all this stuff is going to be sharpened with color and additional detail. Like I can add in additional filigree detail inside of this piece to further define each piece of armor or muscle or metal that's on this character. But it's the same process. I started off super tiny. You can go see the video from Thursday. I started off with like a really small thumbnail sort of piece, and then I expanded it and then started rendering more detail inside of it. That's very similar to what AI, like if you watch AI render an image from initial burst of pixels, and then it starts to manifest more details per pixel, and then it'll expand the resolution and zoom into another quadrant, and it'll expand the level of detail there. That's the same thing that I do. That's my process. And the reason I love doing that so much is because I turn off my brain and watch what happens instead of trying to guide it at all. That's the exact same process as AI. So it's so funny to me, in AI, it's like I'm just going to press a button to do this thing. And there's not the precision yet of being able to create what they want. You're at the mercy of whatever whims it is that the computer has. But that algorithm that runs inside of all these image producing programs, I literally run that machine in my head. That I use that same algorithm, but with like Phil Kearney as the tag of style, like my own individual experiences in life led me to creating art the way that I do. But the same AI rendering program running from a vague idea in a cloud of lines, then getting carved through with an eraser, and then recarved with the color pixels that I want of burst, render, burst, render, burst, render at levels of detail. Like, I know I'm on a tangent here, sorry. But like with this, when I had the vague idea of it, and then I just started to render in and got really fucking intimate with the details on this, even though as a book cover, you'll never fucking see it. But if you zoom in on it as a PDF, it's there. Because like when I fell into the detail work of building this machine, my brain just turned off and just started rendering stuff. And I got to watch that experience. So it was like, I spent like maybe 10 hours rendering this stuff out, and it was heaven. It was literal heaven. I was completely empty during that experience. And I would occasionally come to the surface just to have a reality check of, yeah, this is a form that I'm building. And then I just fall back into it. And I do the same thing with the foliage and the ground scrub that I do of just layering in texture and little shapes and stuff that at a distance just kind of blurs into foliage, but you can zoom in and there's a lot of neat shit going on inside of there. And all of it is just that same Bob Ross stipple rendering of moving the brush around to let it just manifest shapes and scrubbage that I don't have any control over, other than I want shrubbery and ground scrub in this space render. And so it just renders that stuff out for me, and it's just it's amazing. It's like where am I going with this? I'm not going anywhere with it. I'm just noticing the parallels between how amazing it is, like having the opportunity to really become obsessed with a craft or an art, and to be able to like feel the deja vu of it, you know? That's what drives me. That's the compulsion that I have. And then I get all these little dopamine hits of like when I hit that line perfectly or whatever. Like I get a surge of chemical satisfaction. Like I'm literally chemically rewarded for having hit that mark. Just like you get that adrenaline surge of like when you hit a ball and you like knock it right into the position that you wanted to. It's the same sort of thing. Like the satisfaction of knowing that you let your body do what your body is designed to do, and the result of it was impressive. Sorry, huge rant there, but I've been running across. I've been spending more time on Reddit lately, and I find Reddit really fun because there's a lot of time people are more than anything kind of like voicing frustrations with things that they're experiencing or critiques that they have, and I'd say frustration is probably the sentiment that I pick up on more than anything. Like how long it takes to do things, or how incapable somebody feels. Like a lot of art channels. A lot of it's about, God, how am I supposed to do this? This seems so impossible, and none of these people have had the opportunity to feel satisfaction from the work that they've done, because I think they're cheating themselves out of the process of the slow grind, you know, like it's the exact, like I can't do what I do if I didn't take the thousands of hours of just doing it that allow that algorithm to get built, you know. But it's there, and it had to be cultivated, and it kind of just like it kind of evolved like kind of like how your philosophy about life, or like your political stance, or your beliefs about religion or whatever, how those things kind of evolve over time as you have more experiences and weigh it against different arguments. It becomes a thing, and like an entity inside of you, like a pattern of belief or attitude of how you frame conversations, and that art. Similarly, it becomes an expression of like how you look at the world, or like how you like to express things. It's like a writing style. And I think a lot of artists don't allow themselves the opportunity to suffer through long, extensive projects And it's the suffering, it's the frustration that's actually a sense of progress, because you're tearing at the edges of comfort to be able to evolve into something stronger or more in depth, or more aware than what you are currently, and just to be able to advance all of that. I don't know why I was talking about that. Sorry. I probably had a point, but that's the end of the transmission there. So cheers. It feels rancid about stuff on Saturday, folks. One of the byproducts of me turning off my brain to art is the same intuition that guides my pixels is I guess, quote unquote, inspired to say things. And I really never know what it's going to be until it's off my mouth and I can hear it with you. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about until it gets said. And it's a little freaky. And the controlling part of me is terrified that I'm going to say something really stupid someday and feel very regretful of it. But that's such a crazy fear, because when I go back and listen to the stream afterwards, and I listen to the stuff that I say, it's like, God, yeah, I can completely stand behind. Yeah, okay, that was a little discombobulated, but I can totally stand behind everything I just said there. And I think it's just another level of trust and release in learning to believe that my actions are, as Bjork would say, all that you did was right. Give it some time, give it some space. All that you did was good. I love Bjork. She's worth listening to. But she lives in that. I mean, she's a pixie, man. She lives inside that whimsy space, like, all the time. And she comes off as a little loopy occasionally, but I think she's hopped up on hyper reality. Honestly. Let's bring that down to stay within line. Oops. This is apparently 2 different layers, so let's blend those down. And then cap that off. There we go. That feels good. And I can push that up a touch. Micromanaged. There. Perfect. And now let's cut this off as a separate piece. Oh man, that might just be the right answer there. Sorry, I haven't looked at text for a while. What's up? Good, no one's saying nothing. I didn't miss anything. Audience of 0, 5 unsubscribed. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Like that. Oh, that kind of reminds me of like those old calligraphy style like you see on newspapers. That's neat. I like that little jag in there. That's neat too. Keep that. Well, that's pretty dope. Let's see if we can make that stick. That might be introducing more complexity. Yeah, that's adding more complexity than I think I need. I want to make sure I keep the shapes fairly simple. Like if I create too many like little serifs and stuff like that, I think it's going to overcomplicate the gesture. The simple savagery of what the Abyss is. I think that should be expressed in the letters as not overly complicated, overly stylized letters, just more angles and like cuts, slashes, tears, stabs, piercings. That feels like it's the proper way to express this language. I think I've got a good angle. Yeah. I see you. Let's do that. Get that attitude. I can feel that swoop now. Why that happens, like that hooking effect. I can feel it in the letters now. That's neat. What time is it? Is it 11? Yeah, it's 11. I still have 40 minutes. So this is going to take a while, and I'll probably have to, well, yeah, I'll have to do some of this off screen. So I'll definitely be back next week, but I'm hoping next week is going to be finishing. So I should be able to get the lettering done. I've got some Mabar editing to do today, just to make sure I've cleared all the hanging, like there's like some outstanding. What is that? Can't tell. Weird. Heyo! How you doing, Louie? I'm here for another 40 minutes. That feels pretty good there. I think I can. Make this work. Like that. Sculpt that down to an edge. Timer. What's up? No ticking the mark. Praise the holy mark. We're doing good. Where are you at, huh? Did you lock up and I didn't know? I guess I didn't know. Get busy, child. Oh, I see you over there. Thank you. Like that. Ew. I've been listening to the Tomb Raider, the original like 2001 Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie, Has a great OST. A lot of fun songs. Some Ludacris, some Beastie Boys, some ambient stuff that's it's really, really good. Really fun mix of music. I like Ludacris. I'm not as familiar with his work as I should be, as I want to be for somebody that enjoys his music as much as I do. But I like the, I don't know, man. It's a very relaxed, like confident that you really feel like he really believes what it is that he talks about. It's, you know, he's got some bullshit stuff too, but yeah, he feels sincere. His music feels sincere. Yeah, I have a brunch date, and that timing should be pretty crisp around 11:30. So that is going to be a non-negotiable stopping point for me today. So we'll get done whatever we can for these letters, and then I want to make sure that I'm going to blend this down here. I want to make sure that this is its own thing. So there's a few things I have on my plate today. I've got, I want to do some more of this lettering this afternoon when I'll have off-screen production time. I want to get some more of this lettering done. I have some edits for the Crystal of Mabar that I need to finish for Act 2 and for Act 1 and 2 to really like officially clear that plate and open up so that we can transition into Act 3. I've got. Oh yeah, and I want to make a video briefly looking at the astral plane navigation mechanics that we have for the Spelljammer supplement that we've been creating. Because, like I said, I hang out on Reddit, and I ran across some conversations about navigating astral space, and like there's no rule, there's not really any hard rules about it. Wizards of the Coast is interesting. Like Spelljammer is a very, very interesting design because it says very, very little, but it kind of implies a lot. You know, like the only thing they say about Astral is like you focus on something that you know, and you eventually reach it. And like that's about as much guidance as they give you. Like you'll reach the destination that you think about whenever the DM feels is appropriate for you to get there, and like that it's so trite, you know. Like it covers it basically says you are going to homebrew a decision that is not something that needs to be universally adhered to, but rather that fits whatever pacing you want in your campaign. And there's a lot of freedom in that sort of design process, but at the same time, it makes the attitude of it being too thin or being a weak product is that like if I'm going to pay you money, I would like you to provide a frame of reference for which to make those decisions around, and that's the frame of the complaint around like people offloading design onto the DM by Wizards by them saying you can make it however long you want, it's not important, or like how a system specifically is designed, like how planets move is not specifically important. If you want an idea, here's from this adventure, here's a couple examples of what a wild system could be, but there's like zero crunch. Like, how long does it take for a planet to go around the orbit of the sun? How far away can moons be from each other? Blah, 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 blah. All these hard mechanics, like these like physics things that people want answers to, so that they can help reduce their own work. That's what it is. It's the workload that the DM has to spend time thinking about this stuff. I think I like building systems like this because I just naturally think about those things anyway. And I always come up with my own conclusions about what I think something should be, blah de blah. And since since people ask questions like, how am I supposed to do this thing? It's like, well, I should probably write that up. Let me explain my thought process that went behind that. Well, I could build like a little chart here to help, structure it a little bit easier on a die roll. And well, here's a map. And well, okay, so I made this 15-page supplement, and then I end up having a supplement. That's kind of how things evolve. And so I think it's. I mean, honestly, personally, selfishly, I love how trite Wizards is because all their books, it immediately makes me ask, well, how does that work, or why would that work, or what 5e mechanics exist that already kind of explains that or works with that. And that's that G's kind of cool. Let's weigh it against other things that we have already. I think that H is probably the best comparison. Those feel like the same. That feels the same. That G is fancier. The G is more complicated. I'll say that. I don't think it's fancier. I think I think I've been too delicate with the line weight. Like, it needs to be more brutal, more direct, less nuanced. Like, more nuance is like angelic or like elven script, like delicate filigree. While this, it needs just to be brutal and my brain wants to say absolute. Like, it doesn't, like the only feathering it does is into a point that stabs you. Like, there's no delicate loops. It's all just like hard edge. Yeah, hopefully that. Apparently the sentence ends there. So, there we go. Like, just like again, horns and claws, and nails. That's fangs, horns, claws, teeth, blah. That's the shape I want to get out of these. Now, do I want to get rid of that indent? See, yeah, if I get rid of that indent, that just simplifies this entire gesture. There we go. Holy shit, that's good. That feels really, really good. So let's fuck with that for a second. Brought to you by the letter G. I love stacking these letters because I can make all those angles match. God, that felt good. That's another one of those little dopamine hits I talk about when I just turn the thing and it fits perfectly. That's a decent dopamine hit right there. Like, good job. this stuff is fun. I'm way inside this space over here. Sorry, guys. I should shift this over so I can have a little more eye on contact with folks. But I mean, Saturdays are kind of a study hall anyway, right? That's what I love. I love listening to like Zipron or like Wally and like How to RPG and Taryn, Indestructiboy. I love listening to them when they're designing stuff or building something. I mean, I do the same. I mean, that's what I do here too, right? Building stuff. But I love the study hall feeling of it. Like when I'm not on stream, but in production time, I'm listening to other creators working their craft because, again, it just feels like a study hall to me, where we're just there getting work done because we need to get work done, and I love that. I was so fortunate in high school. I don't see well at all. People know this. Well, people that have been around, you know that I've got shit vision. I'm legally blind, right? So in high school, in junior high, there was like home ec and shop and those type of classes. And in home ec there was no, it wasn't home ec. It was like a crafting. It was a sewing class. That's it. It was a sewing class, and I was just being stupid and fucking around, and I ended up cutting my finger and I had to get like 10 stitches. And the administration, their knee-jerk reaction was, well, we know he has visual difficulties. We don't want him playing in shop with saws. So I got to go to study hall instead. They literally just had me skip a class. And so I had an hour of extra time in my schedule. And so they just dropped me into study hall during the shop period. And that was the senior class, study hall. So I'm this little freshman, and I'm hanging around with seniors, and I have no reason to be there other than they just don't want me to be a liability. So it was, to me, I just paint. I would draw and do D&D stuff and make maps, and it was awesome. Because during that study hall, no one gave a shit that I was this little freshman kid. They just knew that I was that kid that liked to fucking do artwork and stuff all the time. Hey Phil, what are you working on? It's like, blah, blah, I'm doing this thing. It's like, oh, that's cool. And like these guys, they introduced me to Palladium and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game. I never gamed with them. They didn't want to hang out with me outside the study hall. But while we were in the study hall, we were nerds of equal level. Like, we'd get in trouble together. We'd throw spitballs together. There's like a gang of like 6 of us. It's fucking fun. And it was a really interesting social dynamic that they didn't want to spend any time with me outside of study hall at all. And I barely ran into any of them, but they sure as hell didn't want to be my friend. But while they were all stuck in that cage together and bored, I was the most entertaining thing around. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, I'm making this map thing. It's like, oh, that's fucking cool. I'm like, yeah, thanks. And I got into doing like zombie art because they were into Iron Maiden and shit like that. And that's what got me into Metallica and Sepultura and Pantera. So it was a really defining era for me, having the opportunity to basically hang out outside of my weight class for a little while. Like, I was just a nerdy little, a stupid little 14-year-old or whatever. And these guys all had cars and shit and, important drug things to do on the weekend or whatever. But I knew I didn't belong there in the first place, so I never had a problem with it. It's like I'm having an opportunity here to see that people that in my grade tend to run away from. It's like I see them differently. It was weird. It was a really weird opportunity, and it really got me out of the space of like superiors versus inferiors on the social, on the social ladder, right? Like at a level, it was like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're bringing value to things, then you are an equal, that you're respected. And in that space during that hour, I felt like an equal and respected by people that were outside of my weight class. It was I don't know. It was fascinating. It was a really interesting opportunity. as a kid in high school to have that experience. Plus, it really set me up to enjoy a lot of metal. I fucking love metal, and I don't think I would have gotten there if it wasn't for that study hall. So like the first album I ever purchased was Metallica and Justice for All. That's it. And yeah, that was the first time I purchased any heavy metal. I had only purchased Rush's moving pictures prior to that. That feels good. Are these letters stacking up proper? Yeah, everyone seems to be in place. I think I can probably broaden this out a touch. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. Sorry about that. But I mean, that's what I do, right? That's a cool letter. I like that. So that's the letter G. Now let's do the letter U. Nice. Oh man, that's shaping up really, really well. And when we get down to the V for Innoraven, I can use. I can already see how that V is going to curve differently than this. Like it'll sharpen at the bottom instead of curving out. It should be a lot, but most of the top of it I can use for the same object. That's kind of cool. It's fun. I'm going to tilt up my... Do I want to tilt up my camera or do I want to drop down the... I'm going to drop that down a tick. There we go. Hey. Oh no, that wasn't it. It was they what was his name? Mike. He brought he was a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic book fan, so he'd bring comics, and he would pass a couple different editions around. As long as you give them back to him by the end of study hall, he'll let you hang out with him. And so I had a that's what led me. I saw Palladium had just put out the Teenage Mutant Ninja, like they licensed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to be a role-playing game, and that had just hit the shelves right as I discovered, was introduced to the comic book. I'm like, oh, that's Kismet. So I picked it up. I gotta say, man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has one of the coolest creature design mechanics. Like it has a point buy system for different creature traits like burrowing, claws, flight. It has a point buy, like you get, and you just decide like the level of epic is the number of points that you give each character to build with, and then you can like gain points by like becoming more frail, and then you spend points by you spend points to become beefier or more tanky, like an armadillo, and so you decide the type of animal that you want to be. And then it has this huge laundry list of different abilities that you could purchase with your racial points, or your mutation points, I think is what it was. And so like I want to be an armadillo. Okay, great. Well, how do you want to play that out? It's like, well, it's probably going to be tanky, so I'm going to spend some on like endurance and like damage reduction, and it's going to be slow, so I can get some points back by reducing its speed a tick or two. It eats bugs and stuff, so like it's gonna have poison resistance and damage, Constitution saving throws using 5e language. And like you just build out the specs for how you want to express that creature, but then somebody else could build an armadillo and be like, oh, I'm gonna be a kind that rolls up into a ball and is a speedster like Sonic the Hedgehog. So they would spec into high speed, low armor. Lots of endurance to be able to maintain that pace. Like you could build them completely different, but you're building the flavors. Like this is what I want to be, and then mechanically this is how I want to express that. And I think that's a really fun way to approach this idea of like a race or whatever. You know, to have that. I don't know. 5e. I always frame things from 5e because 5e is my favorite mechanical system. So I like designing for 5e. I like the elegance of the D20 plus proficiency plus modifying stat, and then the advantage disadvantage system. And the spirit of bounded accuracy, though Wizards doesn't necessarily do a good job respecting bounded accuracy. I like to think about that when I design stuff, like have that restraint or that limitation on my design space. But I am thinking about that like a racial system. It's almost like warlock invocations. Like they're like pick up to use abilities. What is that mark on my monitor? It's fucking weird, huh? It's an element. It's reflection. I bet you don't even see that. I bet that's not even on your screen, is it? I bet I'm like I'm like clawing at things that just don't even exist. Let's watch me paw at stuff real quick. Oh no, you do see it. What? Oh, it's a is that Is that... Hold on. Come on, Kearney. Is that... It's a reflection off of... Oh, there's a window. There's a window over my camera. And there's a light overhead. And it's catching the glint there. I just tilted it and it just disappeared. Is it... No, it's back. Yeah, it's catching a beam off of my ceiling fan light. And it's causing this little spike. But see, when I put my hand above the light, it goes away. God, that's fascinating. Huh. Not that it's a big deal or anything, but it's interesting. Anyway. Yeah, I like that racial point system. And if I were to make my own 5e clone, because it'd be essentially a 5e clone if I were to make my own game. Let's be real. I like that idea of incorporating that. So like you get kind of like Pathfinder 2 has like racial feats that you get occasionally. I like that same idea. So maybe I need to look at Pathfinder 2 a little bit more as inspiration for system design. But I want to go back and revisit. Oh, that's right. Palladium's re-releasing TMNT as a new, they renewed their license, and they, I guess with the popularity of the recent movie, they decided to relicense and then reboot the book. There was like After the Bomb, and then there was the core rule books, and they had a couple of adventures I think as well. But After the Bomb was a big expansion of the Gamma World post-apocalypse, animals mutated, ruling the planet sort of thing. It's a good expansion. I think they're integrating both of those books into the same document and then re-releasing it under renewed license. I don't like Palladium as a system, as a game system. I think it's really clunky. I played Palladium a number of times. Rifts, Robotech, TMNT. Yeah, those three games. And they're fun as fuck. Like the narrative, the lore. Like the lore of Rifts and Palladium in general, but Rifts particularly. Rift's lore is I think as strong and as rich as Warhammer 40K. It's super cool the way that Earth got broken up into these like the way that Pathfinder 2 has like different campaign genres depending on which region or continent you're on, or like which nation you're in. Like this nation has war mech, while the nation next to it's all about possessing things, and they don't like interact at all. Like as soon as you step into this nation, you're in a different campaign. So like if you want to do war mech as a campaign, you're going to stay inside this country because that's where that stuff happens. So like Galeria is like this patchwork of different types of realities. Rifts is like that. Like the Atlantic Ocean has like this huge region that's ruled by Atlantis, and the Atlanteans are like a super advanced slaver alien race that is all about sensation and like physical, like carnal satisfaction, like Slanesh is in Warhammer 40K. So it had like vampires took over South America and Mexico. And Texas is like the Galaxy Rangers or like Brave Star. It has like this sci-fi robot horse tech sort of feel to it. But they don't talk about vampires invading Texas ever, but they totally fucking would. So like all this high-tech cowboy mech stuff is most likely going to be used against vampires if you look at a global scale, but they never really talk about it. Like King Arthur and Camelot returned to Britain, so now it's back to a sovereign nation of King Arthur ruling it as an immortal being. It's got a bunch of cool shit like that, but none of it interacts directly. But all of it's really fascinating shit. And they express all of this stuff mechanically through character options for each of those like nation realms, and they're all at completely different power scales. So it's really fucking difficult to make the world mesh together. And so anyway, Bob's your uncle. I like that racial design system that was only in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It didn't exist anywhere else in any other Palladium game, but it was such a rich way of expressing your character with this point. It was the first time I'd ever seen a point buy system for, as far as I know, it was the first. There may have been something before that, but like Gamma World, Star Frontiers, D&D. Avalon Hill stuff, like all these things had like pre-built. I guess GURPS existed, so yeah, maybe GURPS was first. I'm not sure. I don't know what came out first, TMNT or GURPS. Probably GURPS. So I'm probably wrong. GURPS was probably the first point-buy system, but I kept bouncing off. GURPS felt so mechanically disjointed. I could just never get into it, and its preference for hexes for foot movement. Like if you put a hex map underneath like a building schematic, it always looks weird. Like square grids is a much more reliable way in my eye to be able to illustrate maps and dungeons and stuff. And since I always looked at adventuring from a dungeon delving perspective first, even when playing a different game, I'm still expecting a dungeon, and I'm expecting those dungeons to be in square grids because you can. It's easier to map a dungeon on square grids. So GURPS' reliance on hex for all of their combat and exploration stuff, it just kind of made me bounce off of it. So I could never really get into GURPS, but I'm pretty sure it's true that they were the first to actually build a racial point buy system. So I want to give due what's due, if it is. I don't actually know. I bet this will work. Now, can I simplify this to a single stroke? Nice. Just like that. How are we doing on time, huh? Okay, yeah. We're on our last 10-minute burst. Nice. Okay, let's sharpen that down. There. Nice. That feels very simple. It's a little wide. I think I can thin. Yeah, I want to thin that a touch. Perfect. I have that gap there. I was wondering why the fuck I was doing that. Apparently, it was to get this thing so that it would be no wider than the T. Carve that out and straighten it up. There. That feels pretty good. A little bit more, I think. Where's that coming from? Hold on. My G. Okay. Is that my G? Nice. There it is. There it is. Good you. Let's flush that out just a touch. Nice. All right, that feels really good. Yeah, and we're still in specs with everything. Let's just clean up that edge just a tick. I'm just about out of time. I have plans for, like I said, there was questions about astral navigation. So I wanted to build a little, like 5-minute video or whatever, looking at the page art, and just a quick, like a sneak peek, as it were, of some of the exploration chapter in the Spelljammer book. So I'm just going to build a few minutes about yeah, like I said, astral navigation. So I'm going to build that. I should have that. If everything goes right, that'll be built, and I'll just release that as like a standalone video tomorrow as my Sunday feed. I'm finding, apparently I am now doing a Sunday feed where I make a video off camera. It's horrible. The production value is garbage. It's basically the same thing as we're doing here, but I'm attempting to talk about a single subject without losing my train of thought and actually knowing what it is I'm supposed to be talking about beforehand, which is a different experience for me. So it's organized and intentional, which is like the antithesis of how this channel kind of works. What I wanted to do, what I endeavor to do, is to be able to just run conscious like just autonomic conversation like this and to be able to listen to it and extract pieces. But whenever I go back and listen to stuff, I'm so distracted and ping-pang about stuff, bouncing around and things, that it doesn't extract well as a, hey, here's a thought that Phil has, because like I'm having like 7 thoughts, and we're just kind of focusing on one for a little bit before I tangent off into another one. So that's not necessarily good content. At least I don't know how to package it so that it feels like good content instead of just the ranting of a madman, which is probably the primary risk I have right now. So I'm attempting to build like these little short vignette conversations about a topic of whatever. And so last week it was about mapping wild space systems and the math used for orbiting and how to plot that on a map. If you haven't seen that, it's down in my videos, not my live, but my actual videos. I'm planning on having one of those tomorrow as well about navigating astral space. So you'll have wild space system mapping, and then there'll be navigating wild space as 2 excerpts out of the 106-page document. It'll be like 2 or 3 pages of a look-see as part of the video. So, and it's it's not even finalized yet. So you're kind of looking ahead at what the document is looking like as I'm building it, and just being a point of conversation, because I don't stream on Sundays, right? That's family time. So if I build a thing and then I release it on Sunday, then I can have that 7 days a week presence that apparently you're supposed to have as a YouTuber while you're attempting to climb. So I want to honor the process and do what my betters say, and have that stream time and start building the skill of being able to create content, so that maybe as I continue these autonomic conversations in the future, I'll have more awareness of how to keep it organized, or allow the muse to work her magic through the conversation into stuff that can be structured enough to just be extracted directly, which is the dream. Which is the dream. I've got 2 minutes left, and then I bounce. So we're going to merge that down into the letter U. And we're going to drop this down to low opacity, and we're going to build a new one, and we're going to begin the letter N. That looks like that T. Right? And then this is a fairly common shape. So you have like a minute to go. And it needs to be yeah, that's pretty good. All right, that's time. That's a decent looking N. I'm into that. All right, guys. So we have GUN. I mean, it's not done yet. Here, let me just do this real quick to clean that up. There. And then I can do the M, I can do another claw like that like goes down like this. But I don't think there are no letter M's There's no monkey M's in the gun of Inno Raven. So I don't have to worry about it. There. All right, cool. That is it. The letter N. So I should be, next I should be finishing out the rest of the alphabet and then resizing them, highlighting them, and then building electricity between the letters and the larger structure. So I'll fill all that in. Yep, so I'll finish the letters, highlight the letters, build the electricity from the letters to the overall form. And then I'll know if I need to add in any other kind of color language to help it pop or not. And then from there, all we have to do is finish the electricity down here. So I maybe, if I'm... This might be done before Saturday. If not, maybe I'll just do like a final touches on Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be done by next Saturday, that's for sure. If not before Saturday, but on Saturday we'll have this finished. So if I end up finishing it before Saturday, I'll just jump online and show it off real quick as an end piece for finishing the piece. Like maybe I'll do that like for lunch on Friday or something like that. If that's where I get to, instead of doing martial powers on Friday, maybe I'll cap off the Inno Raven painting. But anyway, we're there. That's where we're at today. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you want to see more of this stuff in the future. Thanks a lot for everyone's support. And I'll post, I should have something posted, pre-recorded tomorrow, and then I'll be back on stream painting Spelljammer stuff on Monday morning. So I'll see you guys then. Thanks a lot for being here. Laters.